Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing what I have recently dubbed the Farmability Game Show. So you guys may have seen on my YouTube channel and both on my Discord channel as well, that I did some polling for which character is going to be the new farmable character for the start of October. This is something that I'm going to be doing once a month, where I'm going to be polling the channels and see who they think is going to be the next character that's going to be made farmable in Marvel Strike Force. Now, before we get to the results of the poll, I do want to take a look at farmability more broadly, in case people have forgot, in terms of where we're at with character releases, how long it's been since they've not been made farmable in this case, and some other things that we should probably take a look at. So if you're ready to go, then let's boil this down. And I want to take us back and journey through Marvel Strike Force all the way to almost winter. It's sort of almost there. Whatever. Cersei and Icarus of the Eternals. So we know, and I'm not going to bring up that blog post again from May, where they talked about how they were going to be made farmable, right? You know, I'm not going to talk about that, because it was like 4 months ago now, and actually all of the characters from that list have been made farmable now, with the exception of these two. Now, they're specifically bolded up because of how long it's been. So let's scroll over. So in this green column, if you're new to my character spreadsheet, the green column is the dates that they're made farmable. I also have over here this column here, which is called dates since release. And it's been 328 days for Cersei, and 317, as of recording, 317 days for Icarus since they were originally released. Now, we're getting awfully close to 1 year. In about another month and a bit, Cersei's going to be up on her 1 year anniversary. Icarus not too long behind her. And so that's a long time, right? It's very rare that a character has gone that long without being made farmable. This I fucked up with Silver Samurai. So that's actually the wrong. That's the wrong number. I forget what that's supposed to be. H. I shouldn't be doing this during the middle of a video, but that's kind of bothering me a little bit. H93? No, I fucked that up. Okay, oh, H90. There we go, 207 days for Silver Samurai. So anyone that's really over 180 days, though, really deserves to be flagged here, I think, with red. Because I think that's really unacceptable, how long characters go in this game without being made farmable. We see here that the premium orbs are a bit of a weird one, because I do believe that Scopely does consider them to be farmable. So even though I'm at 406 days here, if I had used the date of the premium orb, it would be a lot less, obviously. And Kestrel, Jesus, she's technically she's not out of the premium orb, right? And it's been 516 days since she's been released. So, Christ, it's quite something there, isn't it? But let's talk about the characters that we are looking forward to, or hopefully looking forward to, anyways, and where we're at otherwise. And it's basically over here. So you can see Morbius on the left-hand side here. He is essentially next up, more or less, outside of the Eternals, because we've gone through the entire list, and we're basically up to the end of patch 5.10 from February. But even still, like, Morbius is over 180 days at this point. And Dr. Voodoo took about 186 days, so that's over 6 months as well. Anything over 8 is really egregious, in my opinion. So if Morbius is the next one up, then it'll be pretty much 7 months. That's still quite a long time. Now, Kate Bishop and Echo, I also did not update that. Let's do that really quick. So it should be H107 and H108. We can get the proper numbers there. 229 days for Echo and 220 days for Kate Bishop. So that's quite some time. And also, Echo was delayed by like 5 days. So, Morbius, and then after that, it's kind of like Evil Strange. We have Darkhold, right? And part of me believes that Evil Strange is probably going to be the first one up. And because he was a campaign event character, that means a lot of people did get him to 4 to 5 star anyways. And Wong and Agatha, I honestly think they're going to hold these two characters, specifically Agatha, for a long time. I think we're going to skip through some of these other characters before we get back to Agatha. And Madeline Pryor was someone on my poll as well, because she's not really a character that people need necessarily. So I think it's pretty easy to say that they could just throw us a... it's not throwing us a bone. They could just throw us Madeline, and it won't make much of a difference. But we're over 5 months on Madeline. We're over 6 months for Strange now, and like I said, close to 7 months for Morbius. Beyond that, I actually think that they will skip ahead to A-Force before doubling back to Wong and Agatha. They're going to do Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, Nico, and they might even give us Phantom X before they even touch Agatha. And if we're only doing 2 a month, then that basically covers Morbius, Madeline, Strange, and like A-Force until Christmas, essentially. Maybe Phantom X if we're lucky. And so I want to kind of take a look now at the character farm chart. You guys may have seen this as well. So what are we at right now? Well, we had 2 characters for September. We had Echo and Kate. It was kind of late. And that's it. And actually, we're almost done September. So as far as characters that are released, I don't know what we're... How many characters have been released now in September? I need to update this. 3 characters. Technically 4 with Red Hulk, actually, were released in the month of September. So 4 with Rulk. We'll just call him Rulk. And that's actually quite a lot of characters, because there's very few months where we actually did get a release of 4, even with a legendary. When we had Morgan Le Fay and Rogue, there was still only 3 characters released in that month, even with those characters. And so this gives us a -2 rating here. Now, you guys might be familiar with my rating system. This basically means farmable versus character release. So we had 4 characters released in the month of September, but only 2 made farmable, which means that we're at a net negative of -2. And I don't think this is actually... oh, no, it is including it. So now we're at a grand total of a net negative of -15. And what that means is that we're 15 characters behind to be basically within 4 or 5 months of a character being farmable. That's how many characters are left behind. You know, there's the Kestrel, Deathpool, Eternals, and all these other characters that are still, outstanding for us to get on track. And it's just absolutely bonkers. So in previous months, we had August, we had Scarlet Spider, Ghost Spider, and then we did have Dr. Voodoo, though, at the end of August. Now, that's why we got a score of 0, because we actually broke even. So there were the same amount of characters released as there were farmable, somehow. And that's kind of like where we need to be every single month. We need to be at least 0 or +1. And we've never had a +1 since fucking October of 2021. Back in the old legendary-style release methods, when we had Maria Hill, Cap Sam, and Sharon, who were made farmable for Omega Red. And ever since then, this has never come to pass. We've either been in the negatives, or just recently we broke even. And it's absolutely crazy, like, how bad things have actually got. I digress a little bit, but this is still a serious issue. This is a crisis of their making that they're not getting fixed. They're not releasing enough, and they're releasing so many characters on a monthly basis. It's just like we're getting 5 character patches almost every... Look at this. Let's go back up to 6.0. 5 characters, 6.1. 5 characters, 6.2. 4, 6.3. 5 characters, 6.4. 5 characters. We've almost like never in the past had this many characters before. So this was the winter patch for 2 months. You know, when Scopely goes on holidays from December and January, and that was 5 characters. That was 2 months for 5 characters. Now we're getting fucking 5 characters for like 5 weeks. Like every single week, they're just chucking out a new character. You know, previously we were getting 3 character patches. The Weapon X patch was 3 characters. The Eternals patch was 3 characters. And so 5 is super fucking rare, and almost every other time we were getting 3 to 4 character patches. So what the fuck is going on, Scopely? And why are you just spitting characters at us when you've not really fixed a lot of your problems? And that's the biggest issues we have here, is that they're just churning it out even faster than they were before, and without actually going back and fixing a lot of their problems. That being said, let's pivot to the farmability chart. I do want to kind of update people and let people know what happened in August when we did do this vote. We've had quite a significant uptick, actually, on this poll this time around compared to last time. But I did have Deathpool on the voting poll last time. I don't know why. I've since removed her because I feel that, you know, Scopely pretty much considers her farmable, so there's no point in mentioning it. However, a lot of people were wanting Icarus to be farmable last time I did this. But we've now since since known that this is not going to happen now, about a month and a half later on. So the polls for this new one, even though Icarus is on it, nobody really voted for him. So we did get Echo and Kate Bishop, though, which were a pretty large margin of the percentage votes. I just think a lot of people were probably optimistic that one of the other characters were going to happen. So this time, let's take a look. We now have Icarus, yeah, I still added them. Icarus, Cersei, Morbius, Madeline Pryor, and Evil Strange. Now, the way that YouTube, there's a lot more people voting on YouTube than they are in Discord. That being said, we'll look at them a little bit separately. However, the results are pretty much the same. 43% voted for Morbius on YouTube and 30% for Madeline. On Discord, it was 58% for Morbius, 30% for Madeline. So again, lots of people voted for Morbius on Discord, so a lot of people believe that's going to be the case, with third behind largely Evil Strange. I think a lot of people voted still for Icarus on YouTube because it's more of wishful thinking and not actually what's going to happen. Now, the combined votes, of course, I added them all together, and we get 2,269 votes. Hopefully next time we'll get a little bit more, so thank you everyone for participating in this. We have Icarus at 208 votes for 9.1% of the vote share. Cersei for 116 at 5.1%. Morbius, 1,052 votes, 46.3% of the vote share. Madeline, 679 at almost 30% of the vote share, and Evil Strange for 9.5%. I think that we're probably more likely to get Evil Strange than Icarus. I think what could happen with the Eternals, honestly, I think the best thing that we can expect for them is Premium Orb exclusivity at some stage when they do that. Or in the... I was regretting that as soon as I said that. The Milestone 3 Orb is still something that's supposed to happen. It was in the data mines. Of course, data mines are subject to change. Usually they are right. But in this instance, we haven't heard hide or hair about what's going on with this Milestone Orb 3. It's been a very long time, and I'm not sure why it's not been brought up more publicly on their blog posts. But what I do expect is, I think that the audience here is right in this instance. I think either Morbius or Madeline is going to be made farmable. I would be very surprised if it's something other than these two, and I'd be very surprised if it was Evil Strange ahead of these two, because there's really no reason that they can't give us Morbius or Madeline, despite them not being really all that useful. If you guys have them and have them built up a little bit, then, you know, having access to more stars, you know, might be of some value to you guys. They are actually villain characters, though, so this might provide some decent value for new players, because that's some of the biggest challenge that I find for my baby account when I was running through the War Scourge and also the Pestilence Scourge, I think, as well, is that the villain section is very challenging for anyone under, like, level 70 who doesn't have any good characters unlocked. So if either of them are made farmable, I probably will invest a little bit in them standalone for my baby account, and then just for my main account, I don't have Madeline geared up, but I do have Morbius geared. So now, if it's anything else, I would be very shocked if outside of these 5. I think it's incredibly unlikely. In fact, if it's anything outside of these 3, I would be very shocked, and I think that's incredibly unlikely. But let me know in the comments down below what you think, not just about these characters, but what you think about farmability more broadly, because this has always been a huge issue. I normally bring up farmability at least once every week or two. Every 2 weeks, probably, at least, you know, because it's such an ongoing problem that they're making worse and worse by, like I said, you're releasing so many characters in a month or over a patch cycle and not giving enough characters farmability. And what I mean by farmability is nodes, store. I mean, that's most of it, right? You know, not premium orbs, but they consider that. Milestone Orb 3, maybe, you know, I'll give them that, but that hasn't happened yet, so that needs to happen, and they need to get rid of Emma Frost and Cynthia Spider-Man, who are still in those orbs, and replace it with brand new characters that need a spot. So I hope that they get on that sometime soon, because that's something that we really, really need in Marvel Strike Force. Farmability is an all-time low, and it's also, I think, some of the things that are causing newer players to stay away from the game, because so many characters that are just inaccessible that they can't get for like 8 to 9 months is really, really unreasonable. Alright, thank you for coming to my TED Talk, and that's the end of this video, and until next time, everyone, stay safe and healthy, and I will see you all later. Boilon signing out.